What's up, guys? Mike, aka Phony. Little weekly update thing. Not really weekly, just like if I happen to be standing here and the camera turns on and I start talking to you guys about what's going to happen this week, then it happens. Anyways, I'm standing in front of my recently displaced TV. This was the TV that was downstairs, 40-inch. I know, it's so small. Someone on the internet's going to say that, okay? But anyways, it was downstairs, and Jen and I, we like to buy each other Christmas presents by basically merging and buying one mega present. So that's what we did, and we bought like a really nice big TV for downstairs. And so this one, I don't know what people do with the old stuff. Do they just sell this stuff on like eBay or Craigslist? I used to do that stuff. I used to sell my old stuff on eBay, which is why I have an entire closet full of boxes for practically every computer component that I own. And Jen hates it. She wants to go through that closet so bad, but we can't. We can't right now, okay? Babe, I know you're watching. We just can't right now. It's not in the thing, okay? We'll get there. Anyways, all the pictures you're seeing, taken by me, or taken of me, or and family, whatever. It's basically a Flickr accounts brought up by Apple TV, so it's basically going to cycle through things, and just you're going to see pictures. If you see titties, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, right? I'm just saying, like, if you're offended by seeing breasts, then, I'm sorry. I don't think there's any breasts. I mean, there's breasts, but they're not, like, exposed. So if you see nudity and it offends you, my bad. But deal with it. So, Tets will donkey definitely this week. Definitely gonna try this week. We are recording for Go Tets, the game of Trials Evolution Tuesday. We're recording for that. We already got a couple writers knocked out. I can't disclose any results or anything yet because we still have lots of writers to go through. We're going to be picking them off as we go throughout the week and probably throughout next week. Just basically whenever they come available, we get in there, we record, and then have a nice day. Thank you for participating, and that's pretty much the end. We send them on their way. So we're working on that and doing that off and on. I think what's going to end up happening is because the holidays are coming, there's a lot of things. Like I already had today, most of my day was pretty much gone because we had to go and give we had to go take Declan to the 2-month doctor appointment where they go in and they say, "Oh, is he sleeping? Yes, well, he's a healthy baby," and that's pretty much it, right? But it's been it's going to be a rough couple weeks. So you're going to see some shows that come up missing. BFF report this week's not going to happen because it's the top 5 most controversial games of 2012, and that takes a lot of time to kind of put together because I have all these notes I've been collecting throughout the entire month, or sorry, a year, and I need to basically take those, cut them up, and put them into a form. And a lot of people like those episodes because of those specials, because there's a lot of stuff that either they missed, they didn't hear about, or they just can't believe it even happened. So I'm gonna try to go through and cover a lot of them. I'm not gonna disclose what they are yet, because I still have to kind of narrow it. I actually have a list greater than 5. But I need to narrow it down to some of the best ones, and that's what it's going to take. What was the most controversial before? It was like APB, I think it was one. Maybe like Final Fantasy XIV or something. These are like some hits back in the day, right? But that's what's happening. That's what's coming up. It's a picture of an arm. I used to take pictures at clubs, and I don't know why I kept that. I had to diversify my profile a little bit, and he just happened to be there with all the other naked chicks, and he was like, "Want to take a picture of me?" I was like, "Not naked." He was like, "Word." I think he was excited about me not taking pictures of naked, and I was like, cool. And that was that. That was her bed and all of her purses. I basically just told her to lay down, and I threw purses all over her, and she laid in it. The really, really cool shoot. This was... we could be here all day doing this, guys. So... Eating for breakfast, going to try to do that every day this week. I've actually not missed a day since I started doing it. Like, if you go back, I've actually not missed a single day. I'm debating on the format of the show and what to do, like with how to format it and maybe the frequency of it, to kind of make some episodes a little bit more flexible, or not flexible, but accessible. We'll talk about that later on because it's all like on paper, like what's going to work, and we'll look at analytics and see how things work out and all that stuff. We'll see how that works out. Then we have... by the way, I'm sorry if the audio sucks on this. This is like all rigged. You see, I threw up my lapel mic and I plugged it in. I'm recording over there. The video is over here. And so I'm trying to I'm going to piece it all together afterwards. It's a complete mess, but we're making it work for you guys to make this update happen. Yeah, eating for breakfast. BFF report. It's going to be next week, probably Monday. That we have the full week to enjoy it until Christmas, which I think is next week. I don't even know. Yeah, but... I guess all that's really left is pregnant friend that he was like, "Don't look at my girlfriend's titties," and I was like, "I'm not," and I took pictures. My first time taking pregnant pictures. It was really an interesting experience, let me tell you. And then these are more people at clubs and such. And yeah. One of these days we'll do this. We'll go through some of the pictures because some of them has to. Oh, this is our wedding picture. You guys got to see this one. It's my wife and it's me. It's the traditional Korean ceremony that happened within our own ceremony, which is just kind of nice. Or immediately following our ceremony. You can't see it, but I'm all throwing my thumbs. But yeah, really, really professional, right? What else? Yes, I do have a. Let's see, is this thing gonna play? Magic wand. I do have this time lapse that I'm putting together, and I did of the pretty much the entire build, and then unbuild, and then build again. So really quick, let me just show a couple snippets here if it actually loads. Really quick, there's a couple things I want to go ahead and disclose about the video I posted a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, about the computer. A lot of people seem to be very confused with what it was I was doing, how it is that motherboards work, I guess, or their layouts. So I've built, I could say without question, I've built or had my hands in hundreds of computers, hundreds of machines. Because I used to work for CompUSA, so I've taken part in stripping and rebuilding and doing all kinds of shit and basically touching hundreds, if not thousands, of people's just gross, shitty air garbage sitting on their motherboards and all that. Yes, I've had plenty of experience doing that. Very excited about that. I'm also very excited about how Apple TV fucking sucks. Like the big one here, this guy. But anyways, oh hey, look, it loaded off frame. The actual thing is actually really sweet once it actually gets going. I think it needs to buffer the entire thing. Maybe I need to wave it over there a little bit more. But anyways, I have this time lapse coming out where I'll explain a lot of things, mostly about the build and the reason why, I guess you could say, a build for what it is that we do or what it is that I do is not necessarily compatible with what it is that maybe most gamers do. Actually, it isn't compatible with what most gamers do. And while that may sound weird or elitist or something, really all it is that the amount of money and the weird shit that I bought for my computer would be a complete waste of fucking time and money for the average person. So we'll talk about that once I actually get this thing put together and all the video and all that stuff laid out. But as you can see, I got a couple really good shots and I basically had it running. I think it's like 6,000 to 7,000 frames. And put together, it's like 5 minutes. I mean, I can stretch it out a little bit, but it's like 5 minutes at 15 frames per second. So it's a pretty good amount of stuff. I'll be slowing down and highlighting certain things as well. Which build is this? This is the... we'll talk about it later. But we use this as an example. I don't know if this is the one. I won't know here for a second. But is this the one with the case? No, I don't think so. But this would be a good... If this is, this would be perfect. I posted a video talking about not having the necessary clearance in order to make my hard drives fit inside with the case itself. And I was really bummed about that. Okay, this is me stripping everything down. Oh, no, this is me starting over, basically. You write down everything, you number all the cables, right? That's me waving the cables in the thing's face, right, in the camera. And then what you do is you twist tying. I'm all proud. I'm all like, look, I'm twist tying thing, which I never do, by the way. I only did it because I put it on video. So here we go. Yes, this is definitely the one. There's the case, or there's the enclosure, right? The rack where you mount all the drives. I just kind of loosely screw it in there. And then, here we go. Boom. Now, look at this. I love this. This is the greatest setup in the world. Right here, you see how there's a couple of drives. And a lot of people are saying, Mike B, you should get the 90-degree SATA cables. Yes, I know they exist. Of course I know they exist. The reason why I didn't mention them in the video that I made is because they're useless to me. There's no point in me getting those. The reason why is because these SATA ports that are right here, you're looking at, this is a Marvell RAID controller, and you have 4 just standard Intel SATA crap, and then of course you have the dual. This is the Intel RAID something technology bullcrap. It's basically Intel's RAID technology, which I would actually steer away from because it's Intel, and I would be like, oh, I'll go with the Marvel over anything else. But what's really nice about the Intel is that because they always include this on their motherboards, anytime I swap a RAID out, like for example, the RAID that I had in my in Tank, the other computer, the RAID I had in Tank, I just took that out and put it here, and this computer's name is Ocean, by the way. I took the RAID out and plugged it into Ocean, and it just worked because it's the same controller. So the controller understands the layout of the RAID. It could just plug right in and go. If I were to take that and plug it into the other RAID controller here, then that wouldn't necessarily work out because that should fail. It should actually fail completely. I don't know for a fact that it would, but I'm fairly certain that it would. But using the Intel RAID controllers would allow me to swap it to almost any motherboard. Like I could take those drives out and put it in some other random person's computer as long as they had an Intel SATA controller that I guess was probably within the same like maybe range of versions or something, and it should just work. Like I probably couldn't put it in like an 8-year-old RAID controller made by Intel. What was it called before? It had another name. It was very, very generic. It was like Matrix something. Yeah, they used to call it Matrix something. This is like back in the hyper-threading Intel, Pentium 4 crap days. Matrix technology was really stupid. But anyways, these ports are stacked. So when people are saying, hey, you should put, you should get those L connectors, how do you figure that's going to work? Think about it. One L connector is going to be the width of a single one of these cables right here, right? The port itself, the actual docking connector, which is this little black cable here, or this little black piece at the end of the red cable. That's going to be about how far it would actually protrude away from the board. Okay, remember this is coming this way out of the board. Now, if I were to get the L connectors that stack, which by the way, those are really hard to find, right? You can find them. Just because you could find them doesn't mean that they're not easy to find. But you can get those stackable ones. The problem with that is now you've increased the amount of protrusion that you have coming out of the board in the direction of what? Oh, that's right, the actual hard drive enclosure. Now, you see right here I have a fan. Oh, I just noticed that the fan has been removed. The fan is like sitting over here somewhere, I think. But there was a fan sitting right here. And, see, yeah, the fan's not there. The fan was actually was taking up so much space that it would not fit. Now, some people are saying, well, why don't you just bend the ears back, the ears that grab onto the top here, bend the ears back, or go ahead and drill something or drew whatever. First off, 90% of this, I appreciate the suggestions, I really do, but I feel like a lot of people don't really see, they don't understand the depth of this particular case when I was trying to explain it, which I understand I was very erratic, which I typically am. But the way that this thing is set up, underneath here, underneath these panels, long story short, it's not going to fit. Even using L connectors, it would still push it out far enough where it actually wouldn't fit. And the L connectors have to go somewhere, right? They go up. What's going to be up? Oh, that's right, the connectors to the hard drives. Womp womp. So guess what? That's not going to work. So that's the reason why I didn't bring it up. But a lot of people seem to think that the L connectors would be like the savior here. It's not, which is unfortunate. Now, the other thing is, too, I'm not going to modify the case itself. Like that rack enclosure, that rack piece, I'm not going to modify that when I have another case that I could like throw it in. One of the top comments was hilarious. It was like, so let me guess, you spent thousands of dollars on a computer, but you didn't want to spend $50 because of blah, 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 blah. It wasn't thousands, by the way. A lot of this stuff is Frankenstein pieces, which I'll talk about when the actual time-lapse comes out. But when I had two rack enclosures, two rack cases, and I wanted to, and I've accumulated them over years, by the way. This is not like new cases or anything. I didn't want to spend money, and I also didn't want to do any kind of severe modifications, like permanent modifications to the enclosure or to the case itself, because what's the point of doing that when I can just swap it out to another enclosure that might possibly fit? Of course, that was the risk, which you'll see what happened later. Now, this case was a failure, and it was L connectors wouldn't have fixed it. Modifying the case would have, well, actually no, modifying the case would not have fixed it because then it would have had airflow issues. I don't know if you guys are. Let's see, let me get this thing back. Those are our wedding pictures again. But see, here I am trying to put that bitch in. It's not working. And I'm extremely angry, and that was me basically ripping the whole thing apart. But yes, it sucks. Ask anybody that builds a lot of computers, right, or just builds computers in general, right? Regardless of how many there's always some kind of hang-up, something that happens that prevents you from being able to actually enjoy your computer in a timely manner. It never works out. There's always something that fucks up somehow. At the corner of my eye, this looks like a giant boob for some reason. I was just like, oh god, it's a boob. And oh, it's my table that I'm sitting on right now. But the computer works. Try to do some cable management. I realized that all of my cables that I have on hand, unfortunately, are all designed for one thing and one thing only. They're all designed for computers that are across the room from each other. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment here. Go ahead and mirror my thing here. Mirror. Great. Pull that up. Okay, do this. There we go. So what you're looking at is right here to my right. Now, I realize some of you guys are having a huge heart attack right now, but this is basically the culmination of having nothing but long cables, like nothing but long cables, and it's very unfortunate. But I got to the point where at first I was doing a lot of cable management. I was tying things, I was twisting things, and I already keep these things rolled up for the most part. But then eventually I was like, you know what, fuck it. I just need to get these things together so that I could actually do shows this week, right? Because if this is not plugged in, it's not going to work. So I was like, fuck it, just plug this shit in. I'll deal with it later. Placed a pretty decent order with Monoprice to get a ton of cables shipped. I'll get those tomorrow. They ship overnight. If you live in California, I think I mentioned this before. If you live in California, you can get stuff from Monoprice like the next day for just as cheap, if not cheaper, than 3-day service from like FedEx or USPS. So I highly recommend going to Monoprice for stuff. Anyways, all the cables, I have like really short HDMI cables. I have really short Ethernet cables. I have a ton of short 1/4-inch cables, all my audio cables. And maybe you could see right down there, this tweet from Squishy. Are we still doing that thing? Yes, we are. Talk to you later, bro. That little green box, by the way, that just showed up, that was the phone thinking that there was like a face down there, which freaks me out. It's probably the face of Jesus or something. Jesus is in my cables. Someone call and inquire. Anyways, I have so many ins and outs coming out of this thing that I have to find a better way of organizing it, because the 1010 LT is called the 1010 for a purpose. It's 10 ins, 10 outs. Some of them are piggybacked, some of them are multi-channel, but for the most part, it's 10 ins, 10 outs, and I have 2 of those cards. And then, of course, the Blackmagic cards, I have 2 of those, and those have, like, dreadlocks, sets hanging off the back of them. So there's a lot of cabling that needs to be done, and unfortunately, this is going to have to wait for another spare weekend. It hurts me to look at it because my computer is actually right there. That's where I work, right there. You can see my preview window there. That's what I'm looking at to record. But that's where my main station is, where I work all the time. And I have to look at this all the time, which really sucks. It really, really sucks. And then back there is, of course, Fred Bob and then like the live stuff, which that's all not put together either. That needs to be repaired beyond belief. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. That's pretty much the gist. So I guess we'll disconnect this and then we'll let you guys watch pictures again. Maybe you guys will get lucky. Hey. There we go. So yeah, there's a lot of shit that goes wrong when you're trying to build computers, especially when you're Frankensteining. When you buy from scratch and you just have a whole bunch of stuff you put together, it's a lot easier, right? You'll still run into some kind of hiccup or something, but for the most part, it's a lot easier. But that's it. Yeah, I just want to do a follow-up, let you guys know what's going on this week. Next week is going to be also very interesting because we're getting closer to the holidays. I have to hook up with Squishy and Shizzle. They're going to help me record something for this week. You guys will see what that is later. And then, of course, what else? I do believe that is, for the most part, I believe that is it. So, if you guys have any questions about the builds, not necessarily the components chosen, because I'll explain all that in the time-lapse video, which I'll try to get that out by the end of this week, or if not next week, or maybe over the weekend. If you guys have any questions about, like maybe if you guys want to question my decisions on like case swapping and all that shit, feel free, and I'll be more than happy to address them. I think a couple people obviously got it. They understood that SATA ports are stacked, so unfortunately it's not something that you could very easily get around by using L connectors, and even so, you're running into the same problem you had before. What a fucking nightmare that was, man, let me tell you. Fuck. You guys can see it in the video, I'm just like, Rrr! And then fries. Do you guys have this SKU? Yes, we do. Great, I'll come down and pick it up. Are you sure it's this one? Yep. All right, sweet, I'll come down and pick it up. Show up. I don't know what you're talking about. You sure you talked to Lindsay? Who's Lindsay? Blah, blah, blah. That's the real name of the person, by the way. Fries Fremont. Lindsay, you fucked me. Fuck. And I'll still go back there because they price match. And it's just faster than fucking ordering from Newegg. But that's it, guys. Mike B, aka Phony. I look forward to stuff all week long. I'm gonna actually go work on TETS right now, and then you guys will see that tomorrow, and then time lapse later on, and all that good stuff. All right, see you guys later. Bye.